The marble floors of Senator Gaius Maximilian's villa gleam with fresh oil as dawn breaks over the 7 hills of Rome. In 3 hours, 50 of the city's most powerful citizens will gather here for what they call a symposium, but what history will remember as something far more scandalous. The man responsible for orchestrating this elaborate affair hasn't slept in 2 days. His name is Marcus Valerius Festus, and he is Rome's most sought-after convivium organizer, what we might call today a party planner, though his parties would make modern event coordinators blush. But before you imagine some debauched figure from a Hollywood epic, consider this. Marcus is a freed slave who has built an empire on understanding the complex social rituals of Roman high society. He commands a staff of 40, manages budgets that could fund small armies, and navigates the treacherous waters of Roman politics with the skill of a seasoned diplomat. His clients include senators, generals, wealthy merchants, and even members of the imperial family. Today's event alone will generate enough income to buy a small estate outside the city. The year is 67 CE during the reign of Emperor Nero, and Rome stands at the height of its power. The empire stretches from Britain to Egypt, from Spain to Syria. Wealth flows into the capital like water from the aqueducts, and with it comes a hunger for entertainment, luxury, and experiences that push the boundaries of what society considers acceptable. Into this world steps Marcus, a man who has turned the ancient Greek tradition of the symposium into a Roman art form. As the first light of dawn illuminates the frescoed walls of the villa's atrium, Marcus moves through the space with practiced efficiency, his trained eye catching every detail that could make or break the evening's success. The cushions on the dining couches must be arranged just so, not too formal, but not so casual as to suggest a lack of respect for the guest's status. The braziers must be positioned to provide warmth without creating too much smoke. The wine, amphorae, must be arranged by vintage and origin, creating a visual display that speaks to both abundance and sophistication. This is not simply a matter of throwing a party. In Roman society, the convivium serves multiple functions that go far beyond mere entertainment. It is a display of wealth and power, a networking opportunity, a venue for political deal-making, and yes, sometimes a setting for activities that would scandalize more conservative Romans. But to understand why Marcus's services are so valued, we must first understand the world in which he operates. Rome in the 1st century CE is a city of contradictions. Public morality is strictly regulated. Adultery is a crime, homosexual acts between citizens are forbidden, and elaborate sumptuary laws govern everything from what colors different classes can wear to how much money can be spent on dinner parties. Yet behind the closed doors of private villas, a different set of rules applies. Here, the wealthy engage in behaviors that would be unthinkable in public, creating a shadow world of indulgence that exists parallel to Rome's official moral code. The symposium tradition, imported from Greece, provides the perfect vehicle for this private transgression. Officially, it's a dinner party where cultivated men gather to drink wine, discuss philosophy, and enjoy entertainment provided by musicians, dancers, and courtesans. Unofficially, it's an opportunity for Rome's elite to engage in activities that range from the mildly scandalous to the genuinely shocking. Marcus understands this duality better than perhaps anyone in Rome. Born a slave in the household of a Greek merchant, he was educated alongside his master's children, learning to read and write in both Latin and Greek, studying rhetoric, philosophy, and the arts. When his master freed him at age 25, Marcus could have become a teacher, a scribe, or a small merchant. Instead, he chose to enter the shadowy world of private entertainment, recognizing that Rome's elite were hungry for experiences that their public lives denied them. His first client was a minor senator who wanted to impress his colleagues with a dinner party that would be remembered. Marcus not only organized the food and wine, but also arranged for entertainment that pushed the boundaries of what was considered acceptable in polite society. Word of his talent spread through Rome's exclusive circles, and within 5 years, he had built a reputation as the man who could make any fantasy a reality. But make no mistake, Marcus is no mere panderer. He is a businessman who has studied his market with the precision of a military strategist. He understands that what his clients truly crave is not debauchery for its own sake, but the thrill of transgression, the excitement of crossing social boundaries in a safe, controlled environment. His genius lies in creating events that feel spontaneous and wild while being meticulously planned and executed. As he walks through the villa's peristyle garden, checking the placement of torches that will illuminate the space after dark, Marcus reflects on the delicate balance his profession requires. Too conservative, and clients will find his events boring. Too extreme, and he risks scandal that could destroy not only his business, but potentially his life. Roman society may tolerate private excess, but it has limits, and those who cross them can find themselves facing exile, imprisonment, or worse. The garden itself tells the story of Roman excess. Imported palm trees from Egypt stand alongside roses from Persia and Cyprus. A fountain carved from marble quarried in Greece bubbles with water brought by aqueduct from the mountains. The garden paths are lined with statues depicting scenes from Greek mythology, not the sanitized versions found in public spaces, but works that celebrate the more carnal aspects of divine behavior. Dionysus chases a fleeing nymph. Pan plays his pipes while satyrs dance, and Venus emerges from her bath with a knowing smile. These are not mere decorations, but carefully chosen props that will set the mood for the evening's festivities. Marcus has learned that environment is everything in his business. The setting must transport guests from their everyday world into a realm where different rules apply, where senators can shed their togas and inhibitions with equal ease. The logistics of creating such an environment are staggering. Today's event requires the coordination of dozens of suppliers and service providers scattered across the city. The wine comes from vintages stored in caves beneath the Palatine Hill. The food includes delicacies imported from across the empire, oysters from Britain, spices from India, exotic fruits from Africa. The entertainment involves performers drawn from Rome's sprawling underground world of actors, musicians, dancers, and prostitutes. Each element must be perfectly timed and orchestrated. The guests will arrive at the 7th hour after sunrise, just as the afternoon heat begins to fade. They will be greeted with honey wine and light refreshments while they shed their formal attire and don the loose, comfortable garments appropriate for a symposium. The serious dining will begin at the 8th hour, with 7 courses designed to please the palate while gradually loosening inhibitions. But food and wine are only the beginning. Marcus has arranged for a progression of entertainment that will guide the evening's mood from civilized conversation to something far more primal. First, a poet will recite verses from Ovid's Ars Amatoria, the ancient guide to seduction that scandalized even sophisticated Romans. Then musicians will play increasingly sensual melodies, while dancers perform routines that begin as artistic interpretations of mythological themes and evolve into something more explicit. The transition from dinner party to orgy is never abrupt in Marcus's events. Instead, it unfolds naturally, almost inevitably, as guests find themselves swept along by the momentum of the evening. By the time the more adventurous activities begin, participants feel as though they are simply following the logical progression of the festivities rather than making a conscious decision to transgress social norms. This careful orchestration is what separates Marcus from his competitors. Any freed slave with connections can hire prostitutes and provide wine. But creating an experience that allows Rome's most prominent citizens to abandon their dignity without losing their sense of sophistication requires a deep understanding of Roman psychology and culture. As Marcus supervises the arrangement of dining couches in the main triclinium, he considers the guest list for tonight's event. Senator Gaius Maximilian, their host, is a man of considerable political ambition who sees these gatherings as opportunities to build alliances and gather intelligence. Among the guests will be 2 other senators, 3 wealthy merchants, a general, recently returned from campaign in Germania, and several younger men from prominent families who are beginning their own political careers. The presence of these younger men is crucial to the evening's dynamics. Roman society is intensely hierarchical, and the relationships between older, established men and their younger protégés often have dimensions that extend beyond mere mentorship. These relationships, known as amicitia, can include emotional and physical intimacy that would be shocking in other contexts, but is accepted, even expected, within certain circles of Roman elite. Marcus has carefully balanced the guest list to include both established power brokers and rising stars, creating opportunities for the kind of relationship building that keeps Roman society functioning. The evening's activities will provide a relaxed, intimate setting where deals can be made, favors can be negotiated, and bonds can be forged that will influence Roman politics for years to come. But the guest list also includes elements that would surprise those who view Roman orgies through the lens of modern sensationalism. 3 of tonight's attendees are women, not prostitutes or slaves, but the wives of prominent citizens who have chosen to participate in these gatherings as a form of sophisticated entertainment. Roman women of the upper classes enjoy freedoms that their counterparts in other ancient societies could never imagine. They can own property, engage in business, and within limits make their own choices about social activities. The presence of these women transforms the evening from a simple male bonding ritual into something more complex and potentially dangerous. Roman law may allow married women considerable freedom, but it draws sharp lines around adultery and sexual behavior. Marcus must navigate these legal and social constraints while still providing the kind of excitement his clients expect. The women who attend these events are not naive about what they're participating in. They are sophisticated, educated, and wealthy in their own right. Some are wives looking to escape the constraints of traditional marriage, others are widows enjoying their independence, and a few are simply curious about experiences that their normal social circles deny them. Marcus treats them as clients rather than entertainment, ensuring that their participation is voluntary and that their reputations are protected. This protection of reputation is perhaps the most crucial service Marcus provides. Roman society may tolerate private excess, but it demands public respectability. A single rumor in the wrong ear could destroy careers, marriages, and family fortunes. Marcus has built his business on absolute discretion, and his staff understands that betraying a client's confidence would result in immediate dismissal and permanent blacklisting from lucrative employment in Rome's service industry. As the morning progresses, Marcus shifts his attention to the most delicate aspect of his preparations, briefing his staff on the evening's protocols. The servers who will pour wine and clear dishes are all slaves from his own household, chosen as much for their discretion as their skills. The entertainers are freelancers whose careers depend on maintaining the trust of wealthy clients. The security personnel are former gladiators who understand that their job is to ensure privacy rather than maintain order. Each group receives specific instructions tailored to their role in the evening's events. The servers are told to remain invisible, anticipating needs without intruding on conversations or activities. The entertainers are given detailed schedules that allow for improvisation within carefully defined boundaries. The security team is positioned to prevent unauthorized entry while remaining completely out of sight of the guests. But perhaps the most important briefing goes to the 3 women who will serve as the evening's primary courtesans. These are not common prostitutes but skilled professionals who command high fees for their services. They are educated, articulate, and beautiful, capable of engaging senators in philosophical discussions as easily as they can satisfy their physical desires. Marcus meets with each woman individually, discussing not only the evening's logistics, but also the personalities and preferences of the guests they will encounter. Senator Lucius Cornelius prefers intellectual conversation before any physical intimacy. General Marcus Brutus is direct in his appetites but treats women with old-fashioned courtesy. The young patrician Gaius Flavius is eager to please but lacks experience and may need gentle guidance. These conversations reveal another layer of Marcus's expertise. He is not simply organizing sexual encounters but orchestrating complex social interactions that must satisfy multiple participants with varying needs and expectations. The courtesans must be part actress, part therapist, part diplomat, adapting their behavior to complement rather than clash with the evening's other activities. As the 6th hour approaches, Marcus conducts his final inspection of the villa. Every detail has been checked and rechecked, from the temperature of the bathhouse to the placement of chamber pots in discreet alcoves. The kitchen staff is putting finishing touches on the first course, a selection of delicacies designed to stimulate appetite without causing satiation. The wine has been properly mixed with water according to Greek custom, though the proportions will grow stronger as the evening progresses. In the main triclinium, the dining couches have been arranged in a U-shape that encourages conversation, while allowing easy movement between spaces. Each couch is equipped with soft cushions, silk throws, and small side tables for personal items. Oil lamps provide warm, flickering light that flatters complexions and creates an atmosphere of intimate luxury. The adjacent entertainment space features a small stage where musicians and dancers will perform, surrounded by additional seating, areas where guests can retreat for private conversations or more intimate encounters. Curtained alcoves line the walls, providing privacy for those who desire it while remaining connected to the main festivities. Marcus has learned that successful events require multiple spaces with different energy levels. Some guests prefer to remain part of the group throughout the evening, while others want opportunities for private interactions. The villa's layout accommodates both preferences, allowing the party to fragment and recombine naturally as the mood shifts. The bathhouse presents particular challenges for tonight's event. Roman bathing is a social activity that often includes mixed gender participation, but the addition of sexual activity transforms it into something potentially scandalous. Marcus has arranged for the water temperature to be kept slightly cooler than normal, preventing the drowsiness that could diminish enthusiasm for later activities. Special oils and perfumes have been prepared to enhance the sensual aspects of bathing, while maintaining the sophisticated atmosphere his clients expect. Even the seemingly mundane details require careful consideration. The latrine facilities must be discreetly accessible without disrupting the flow of activities. Clean linens must be readily available for various purposes. Discreet cleanup stations are positioned throughout the villa, stocked with perfumed water and soft towels. As guests begin to arrive, Marcus positions himself in the villa's entrance hall, greeting each participant personally and ensuring they understand the evening's protocols. This is not the chaotic free-for-all that popular imagination might suggest, but a carefully structured event with its own etiquette and expectations. The first to arrive is Senator Gaius Maximilian himself, the evening's host and one of Marcus's most reliable clients. Maximilian is a man in his 50s, wealthy enough to afford extravagance, but not so secure in his position that he can ignore public opinion entirely. His symposiums serve multiple purposes. They cement his reputation as a sophisticated patron of the arts, provide opportunities for political networking, and allow him to indulge appetites that his public role requires him to suppress. Following closely behind is Senator Lucius Cornelius, A younger man whose rapid rise through the cursus honorum has made him many enemies and few trusted friends. For him, these gatherings provide rare opportunities to relax his guard and enjoy the company of peers who understand the pressures of political life. His wife Claudia accompanies him, a striking woman whose intelligence matches her beauty and whose participation in these events has caused considerable gossip among Rome's more conservative matrons. The guest list continues with General Marcus Brutus, recently returned from successful campaigns in Germania with enough loot to purchase a palace and enough glory to consider a political career. His massive frame and scarred hands mark him as a man of action, but his educated speech and sophisticated tastes reveal the cultured background required for advancement in Roman society. The younger generation is represented by Gaius Flavius, son of a wealthy merchant family whose father hopes these connections will smooth his son's entry into political life. At 22, Flavius possesses the enthusiasm of youth but lacks the experience to navigate Rome's complex social hierarchies without guidance. As each guest arrives, Marcus conducts a subtle assessment of their mood and expectations. Senator Cornelius seems tense, probably dealing with some political crisis that requires careful handling. General Brutus appears relaxed and ready for entertainment, while young Flavius betrays nervous excitement that suggests this may be his first such gathering. The women present particular challenges. Claudia Cornelia carries herself with the confidence of someone accustomed to challenging social conventions, but Marcus detects an undercurrent of uncertainty that suggests she may be having second thoughts about her participation. Julia Maxima, wife of a wealthy wool merchant, seems determined to project an air of sophisticated worldliness, while the widow Livia Drusilla appears genuinely excited by the prospect of experiences denied to her during her marriage to a notoriously conservative senator. Each assessment informs Marcus's strategy for the evening. Nervous guests need reassurance and gentle guidance. Overconfident participants may require subtle restraint to prevent them from disrupting the carefully planned progression of activities. Experienced attendees can be counted on to help set the appropriate tone for newcomers. The transition from arrival to dining provides the first test of Marcus's orchestration skills. Guests must be encouraged to shed their formal attire and adopt the loose, comfortable garments appropriate for a symposium. But this transformation cannot feel forced or artificial. Marcus has learned to use conversation and wine to ease this transition, engaging guests in discussions that gradually shift from public topics to more personal subjects. The dining itself follows ancient protocols that Marcus has refined through years of experience. Guests recline on couches rather than sit in chairs, adopting postures that encourage relaxation and intimate conversation. The food is served in small portions designed to stimulate conversation rather than satisfy hunger, with each course accompanied by wines chosen to complement both the flavors and the evening's progression. As the first course is served, a selection of eggs, olives, and exotic mushrooms, Marcus circulates among the guests, ensuring that conversations flow smoothly and that no one feels excluded or uncomfortable. This is delicate work, requiring him to read social cues and intervene subtly when necessary without appearing to manage the interactions. The conversation begins with safe topics: recent gladiatorial games, news from the provinces, gossip about mutual acquaintances. But Marcus has seeded the guest list with individuals whose interests and personalities will naturally drive discussions toward more provocative subjects. Senator Cornelius's wife Claudia is known for her unconventional views on marriage and women's roles in society. General Brutus has spent years in frontier camps where normal social restrictions do not apply. Young Flavius's inexperience makes him eager to prove his sophistication by engaging with forbidden topics. As the wine flows and inhibitions begin to loosen, the conversations naturally evolve toward subjects that would be unthinkable in polite society. The poetry of Catullus, with its explicit descriptions of sexual encounters. The rumors surrounding Emperor Nero's private parties. The exotic practices reportedly common in Egyptian and Persian courts. Marcus listens to these conversations with the attention of a skilled conductor, ready to guide the mood when necessary, but careful not to force the pace. The transition from intellectual discussion to physical activity must feel natural and inevitable, not orchestrated or artificial. The second course brings more substantial fare: roasted fowl, fresh fish, and vegetables prepared with expensive spices imported from the far reaches of the empire. The wine service becomes more generous, with stronger mixtures that begin to affect judgment and lower inhibitions. The oil lamps are dimmed slightly, creating an atmosphere that encourages intimacy. It is during this course that the first entertainment begins. Marcus has arranged for a young musician to perform songs that begin as respectable compositions but gradually incorporate lyrics with double meanings and increasingly suggestive themes. The performer is skilled enough to make these transitions seem natural, part of the artistic tradition rather than deliberate provocation. The effect on the guests is subtle but noticeable. Conversations become more animated, laughter more frequent, and physical contact more common. Hands that earlier remained carefully positioned now rest on neighbors' arms or shoulders. The formal boundaries that separate Roman citizens in public settings begin to blur. As the third course arrives, exotic delicacies including peacock, ostrich, and dormice prepared in honey, Marcus signals for the next phase of entertainment. A pair of dancers enter the triclinium, their movements initially modest interpretations of classical myths, but gradually becoming more sensual and explicitly erotic. The dancers are professionals who understand their role in the evening's progression. Their performance must be artistic enough to maintain the sophisticated atmosphere while being provocative enough to further erode the guests' inhibitions. They begin with a representation of the myth of Leda and the swan, their movements suggesting rather than explicitly depicting the sexual encounter between the mortal woman and the god Zeus in avian form. As the performance continues, the barriers between audience and entertainers begin to dissolve. Guests call out suggestions for poses and scenarios. Some begin to move in rhythm with the music. The formal dining arrangement starts to break down as participants shift positions to get better views or engage in more intimate conversations with their neighbors. Marcus watches these developments with satisfaction. The evening is progressing exactly as planned, with each element building naturally on the previous ones. The guests are becoming invested in the proceedings, moving from passive observers to active participants without conscious decision or forced participation. The fourth course introduces foods specifically chosen for their supposed aphrodisiac properties. Oysters from the British coast, roots and herbs from Africa, and preparations that Roman folklore claims enhance sexual desire and performance. Whether or not these foods actually possess such properties is irrelevant. The guests believe they do, and that belief becomes part of the evening's psychological orchestration. During this course, Marcus introduces the courtesans, who will provide more intimate entertainment as the evening progresses. These women do not appear suddenly or obviously, but are gradually integrated into the group through seemingly casual conversations. Valerina, a striking redhead with Greek education and Egyptian ancestry, engages Senator Cornelius in a philosophical discussion about the nature of pleasure that would be fascinating in any intellectual setting. Domitia, a blonde beauty whose family lost their fortune in the recent civil wars, charms General Brutus with tales of her travels through Gaul and Germania. Livia, a dark-haired woman whose intelligence matches her physical attractions, takes young Flavius under her wing, offering worldly wisdom disguised as friendly advice. Each courtesan has been chosen not only for her physical attributes, but for her ability to complement the personalities and interests of the guests she will entertain. They are skilled conversationalists who can discuss politics, philosophy, literature, and current events with the same facility they bring to more intimate activities. As the evening progresses through the fifth and sixth courses, the boundaries between host and guest, entertainer and audience, participant and observer continue to blur. The formal structure of the Roman convivium remains recognizable, but it has been transformed into something far more libertine than traditional society would tolerate. The wine service becomes increasingly generous, with stronger mixtures that affect judgment and lower inhibitions without causing complete intoxication. Marcus has learned that successful events require participants to remain capable of consent and enjoyment throughout the proceedings. Too little alcohol and guests remain, too inhibited to fully participate. Too much, and the evening degenerates into drunken chaos that satisfies no one. Music continues throughout the meal, with different performers taking the stage to maintain variety and energy. A flute player specializing in exotic melodies from the East. A lyre player whose compositions incorporate themes from the most provocative Greek poetry. Singers whose voices can transform familiar songs into sensual invitations. The lighting continues to dim gradually, creating an atmosphere that flatters complexions while encouraging intimacy. Servants circulate with perfumed oils and flower petals, maintaining the luxurious environment while preparing for activities that will require such amenities. As the final course is served, an elaborate array of sweets, fruits, and delicacies designed more for sensual pleasure than nutrition, Marcus begins to orchestrate the evening's transition from dining to more explicitly erotic activities. This is the most delicate phase of his work, requiring perfect timing and absolute sensitivity to the guest's readiness. The transition begins with the introduction of games that start as intellectual exercises but evolve into physical activities. A poetry contest where participants must compose verses on themes of love and desire. A storytelling competition featuring tales from mythology that celebrate the erotic adventures of gods and mortals. Dancing competitions that begin as artistic expressions but become increasingly sensual as inhibitions fade. These games serve multiple purposes. They provide entertainment that maintains the sophisticated atmosphere while gradually normalizing more provocative behavior. They create opportunities for physical contact and intimate conversation that would be inappropriate in other settings. Most importantly, they allow participants to escalate their involvement gradually, proceeding only as far as their comfort and desire dictate. Marcus observes the interactions carefully, ready to intervene if anyone appears uncomfortable or unwilling to participate. His reputation depends on ensuring that all activities remain consensual and that no guest leaves feeling exploited or embarrassed. The line between sophisticated entertainment and dangerous scandal is thin, and crossing it could destroy not only his business but his life. The bathhouse presents the next venue for the evening's activities. Roman bathing customs already incorporate social nudity and physical intimacy between friends, making it a natural setting for more explicit activities. Marcus has prepared the facilities with special care, ensuring that water temperatures, lighting, and amenities create an environment conducive to relaxation and sensual pleasure. The progression to the bathhouse unfolds naturally as guests become warm from wine and exertion. The suggestion that cooling off might be pleasant comes from participants rather than Marcus, maintaining the illusion that events are unfolding spontaneously rather than according to a predetermined plan. As guests shed their remaining garments and enter the warm waters, the last barriers to intimate contact dissolve. The combination of alcohol, dim lighting, warm water, and the evening's gradual progression of activities creates an environment where behaviors that would be scandalous elsewhere seem natural and inevitable. Marcus positions himself where he can observe the proceedings without intruding, ready to provide assistance or intervention as needed. His staff continues to circulate discreetly, ensuring that wine, food, and other amenities remain available while maintaining the privacy that such activities require. The interactions that unfold in the bathhouse reflect the complex social dynamics of Roman elite society. Political alliances are cemented through intimate personal relationships. Generational mentorship extends into physical intimacy that strengthens bonds between older senators and younger protégés. Marriage relationships are renegotiated through shared experiences that challenge conventional boundaries. What emerges is not the chaotic debauchery that popular imagination might suggest, but a carefully structured social ritual that serves multiple functions within Roman society. Power relationships are established and reinforced. Political alliances are strengthened through personal intimacy. Social boundaries are tested and renegotiated within a controlled environment. The women present navigate these interactions with skill that reflects their education and social position. They are not passive objects of male desire, but active participants who pursue their own interests and pleasures. Their involvement transforms the evening from a simple male bonding ritual into a more complex negotiation of power, pleasure, and social position. As activities in the bathhouse reach their peak, Marcus ensures that private spaces remain available for those who prefer more intimate encounters. The villa's design includes numerous alcoves, chambers, and garden spaces where couples or small groups can retreat for privacy while remaining connected to the larger gathering. The evening's progression continues with a return to the main entertainment areas, where the combination of wine, music, and physical satisfaction creates an atmosphere of languid contentment. Conversations resume, but with a different character than earlier in the evening. The shared experiences have created bonds and intimacies that will influence relationships long after the party ends. Marcus observes these interactions with professional satisfaction. The evening has achieved its goals of providing entertainment, strengthening social bonds, and creating opportunities for the kind of relationship building that keeps Roman society functioning. His clients are satisfied, his staff has performed flawlessly, and his reputation for discretion and quality remains intact. As the evening winds down, Marcus begins the delicate process of managing departures. Guests cannot simply leave as they might from an ordinary dinner party. They must be given time to recover their composure, clean themselves, and resume the public personas that Roman society demands. Servants provide fresh garments, grooming assistance, and whatever else participants need to make themselves presentable for their return to the outside world. The departure process also serves as a final test of Marcus's discretion and professionalism. Guests must feel confident that their participation will remain confidential, and that no evidence of the evening's activities will follow them into their public lives. This assurance is perhaps the most valuable service Marcus provides, and his ability to maintain absolute privacy is what allows his business to flourish in a society where scandal can destroy careers overnight. As the last guest departs in the pre-dawn darkness, Marcus conducts a final review of the evening's events. Every detail is analyzed for lessons that can improve future gatherings. Staff performance is evaluated and feedback provided. The villa is restored to its normal state, with all evidence of the night's activities carefully removed. The cleanup process is as meticulously planned as the event itself. Linens must be laundered, surfaces cleaned, and any evidence of unconventional activities removed. The staff understands that their discretion extends beyond the evening itself to include the aftermath and cleanup. Marcus's final responsibility is ensuring the security and well-being of all participants. Anyone who consumed too much wine receives assistance getting home safely. Courtesans are paid promptly and provided with transportation to their own residences. Security personnel remain on duty until all participants have departed safely. As the sun rises over Rome's 7 hills, Marcus finally allows himself to rest. The evening has been another success, adding to his reputation while generating income that supports his household and funds his continued expansion in Rome's entertainment industry. But already his mind is turning to future events, each one requiring the same careful planning and flawless execution that have made him the most sought-after organizer in the empire. The business of organizing such events extends far beyond a single evening's entertainment. Marcus maintains relationships with suppliers throughout the city and across the empire. Wine merchants who can provide rare vintages from specific regions. Food suppliers who specialize in exotic delicacies. Entertainers whose skills and discretion meet his exacting standards. Security services that understand the unique requirements of protecting wealthy clients' privacy. Each relationship requires careful cultivation and management. Suppliers must be reliable, discreet, and capable of handling unusual requests without question. Payment must be prompt and generous enough to ensure loyalty and continued service. Most importantly, everyone in Marcus's network must understand that betraying client confidentiality would result in immediate termination and blacklisting throughout Rome's service industry. Marcus also maintains detailed records of his clients' preferences, requirements, and social relationships. These records, kept in code and secured against unauthorized access, allow him to customize each event to match specific needs and desires. Senator Cornelius prefers intellectual courtesans who can engage him in philosophical discussions. General Brutus enjoys more straightforward entertainments that remind him of frontier camp life. Young Flavius requires gentle guidance and encouragement as he explores experiences beyond his limited background. Understanding these preferences allows Marcus to create events that feel personalized and special rather than generic and commercial. Each client believes that his particular needs and desires are understood and catered to, creating loyalty that translates into repeat business and referrals to other potential customers. The social network that Marcus navigates extends throughout Roman society, from the highest levels of government to the city's extensive underworld. His clients include senators who can influence legislation, generals who control military resources, and wealthy merchants who dominate commerce. His suppliers and staff include former slaves, freedmen, foreigners, and citizens from across the social spectrum. This broad network provides Marcus with information and resources that make him valuable beyond his skills as an event organizer. He knows which senators are feuding, which marriages are troubled, which young men are ready for initiation into adult pleasures, and which women are seeking experiences their conventional lives deny them. This knowledge allows him to create guest lists that maximize both entertainment value and social utility. But with such knowledge comes responsibility and risk. Marcus must navigate the complex and often dangerous world of Roman politics while maintaining the trust of clients whose secrets could destroy careers or end lives. A single misstep, a moment of indiscretion, or a failure to maintain absolute confidentiality could result in exile, imprisonment, or death. The legal environment in which Marcus operates is similarly complex and dangerous. Roman law distinguishes sharply between public and private behavior, but the boundaries are not always clear. Activities that are perfectly legal in private settings can become criminal if they become public knowledge. The status of participants matters enormously. Behaviors that are acceptable between citizens of equal rank can become scandalous if they involve inappropriate power relationships. Marcus must also navigate the religious and cultural sensitivities that shape Roman attitudes toward sexuality and entertainment. Traditional Roman values emphasize restraint, dignity, and respect for social hierarchies. The more libertine activities that his clients desire represent a rejection of these values that must be carefully contained within private settings. The influence of Greek culture on Roman entertainment provides both opportunities and challenges for Marcus's business. Greek symposium traditions legitimize gatherings that combine intellectual discussion with physical pleasure, but they also carry associations with effeminacy and moral weakness that conservative Romans find threatening. Marcus must balance his clients' desires for Greek-style sophistication with their need to maintain Roman dignity and respectability. The role of women in these gatherings presents particular challenges. Roman law and custom grant upper class women considerable freedom compared to their counterparts in other ancient societies, but clear limits remain around sexual behavior and public respectability. The women who participate in Marcus's events must navigate these constraints while pursuing experiences that conventional society denies them. Marcus has developed relationships with women who can serve various functions in his events, from sophisticated courtesans who provide intellectual companionship to wives of prominent citizens who participate as social equals. Each requires different handling and different protections, creating additional complexity in event planning and execution. The entertainment industry that Marcus operates within includes thousands of performers, suppliers, and service providers, scattered throughout Rome and its surrounding territories. Musicians who specialize in erotic themes, dancers trained in exotic styles from across the empire, actors who can portray mythological scenes with varying degrees of explicitness, and courtesans educated to satisfy both intellectual and physical desires. Maintaining relationships with this diverse network requires diplomatic skills that rival those of professional politicians. Each performer has specific requirements, preferences, and limitations that must be respected and accommodated. Payment must be negotiated fairly while maintaining profit margins that keep the business viable. Most importantly, everyone must understand their role in maintaining the discretion that makes such events possible. The economic impact of Marcus's business extends throughout Rome's service economy. A single large event can generate work for dozens of individuals and substantial revenue for suppliers across the city. Wine merchants benefit from sales of expensive vintages. Food suppliers profit from demand for exotic delicacies. And entertainers earn fees that support their families and fund their artistic development. This economic influence provides Marcus with political protection that supplements his clients' support. City officials who might otherwise be inclined to investigate reports of immoral behavior are hesitant to interfere with activities that generate substantial tax revenue and employment. The same economic relationships that make Marcus's events possible also help protect them from official interference. The seasonal nature of Roman social life creates rhythms that shape Marcus's business throughout the year. Winter months see increased demand for indoor entertainment as weather limits outdoor activities. Spring brings opportunities for garden parties and events that take advantage of pleasant temperatures. Summer requires careful planning to avoid the heat that makes elaborate gatherings uncomfortable. Autumn offers ideal conditions for the largest and most elaborate events. Religious festivals and political events also influence demand for Marcus's services. Major holidays create opportunities for celebration that justify more elaborate than usual entertainment. Election seasons bring increased demand for gatherings where political alliances can be negotiated privately. Military triumphs and other state occasions generate the kind of wealth and excitement that drive demand for luxury entertainment. The training and development of Marcus's staff requires ongoing attention and investment. New employees must be educated not only in the technical aspects of their duties, but also in the complex social dynamics and discretion requirements that make such events possible. A server who fails to read social cues properly can disrupt carefully orchestrated interactions. A guard who shows the wrong expression at the wrong moment can make guests uncomfortable and self-conscious. Marcus conducts regular training sessions where staff practice their roles and learn to handle unusual situations that might arise during events. These sessions cover everything from proper wine service techniques to emergency procedures for dealing with overly intoxicated guests or unexpected visits from authorities. Role-playing exercises help staff understand how to remain invisible when necessary while being available when needed. The psychological aspects of Marcus's work extend beyond event planning into what we might recognize today as therapeutic services. Many of his clients use these gatherings to explore aspects of their personalities and desires that Roman society normally suppresses. Senators who must project strength and authority in public settings can explore vulnerability and submission in private. Military officers accustomed to command can experience the pleasure of taking direction from others. Married individuals can experiment with relationships and activities that their conventional lives prohibit. Understanding these psychological needs requires Marcus to develop skills that go far beyond event planning. He must read personality types, understand power dynamics, and create environments where people feel safe to explore forbidden aspects of themselves. This requires empathy, discretion, and wisdom that comes from years of observing human behavior in extreme situations. The networking aspects of Marcus's gatherings serve functions that extend far beyond simple socializing. In a society where formal institutions are often ineffective or corrupt, personal relationships become the primary mechanism for conducting business, making political deals, and resolving disputes. The intimacy created during these events strengthens bonds that can influence everything from trade agreements to military appointments. Marcus has observed how shared transgression creates particularly strong bonds between participants. Individuals who have violated social norms together develop mutual dependence that goes beyond ordinary friendship or political alliance. They share secrets that could destroy each other, creating relationships based on mutual assured discretion rather than simple trust or affection. These dynamics make Marcus's gatherings valuable beyond their entertainment function. They serve as forums where Rome's elite can negotiate agreements that would be impossible in formal settings. Business partnerships are formed, political alliances are cemented, and conflicts are resolved through personal relationships that transcend official channels. The influence of Eastern cultures on Roman entertainment provides Marcus with inspiration and challenges. The sophisticated pleasure cultures of Egypt, Persia, and India offer techniques and practices that can enhance his events, but they also carry associations with foreign influence that some Romans find threatening. Marcus must balance his clients' curiosity about exotic experiences with their need to maintain Roman identity and values. Trade routes that bring spices, silks, and other luxury goods to Rome also carry information about entertainment practices from across the known world. Marcus maintains contacts with merchants and travelers who can provide insights into the pleasure cultures of distant lands. These contacts occasionally provide access to performers, courtesans, or entertainers whose exotic skills can add novelty to his events. The religious dimensions of Roman sexuality create both opportunities and constraints for Marcus's business. Traditional Roman religion includes festivals and rituals that celebrate sexuality and fertility, providing precedents for activities that might otherwise be considered scandalous. The cult of Bacchus, though officially suppressed, continues to influence attitudes toward wine, celebration, and sexual freedom. Mystery religions imported from the East often include initiation rituals that combine spiritual and physical elements. Marcus draws on these religious traditions to provide philosophical and spiritual justification for activities that might otherwise seem purely hedonistic. Guests can view their participation as connection to ancient traditions, exploration of divine mysteries, or celebration of natural human desires blessed by the gods. This religious framework helps participants rationalize behavior that conflicts with conventional Roman morality. The architectural requirements for hosting such events have influenced the design of wealthy Romans' homes throughout the city. Marcus consults with architects and builders who specialize in creating spaces that can serve both conventional social functions, and more unconventional entertainment needs. Features like private bathhouses, soundproof chambers, and discreet entry and exit routes are increasingly common in the villas of his regular clients. These architectural innovations reflect the growing sophistication of Roman pleasure culture and the increasing demand for venues that can accommodate activities ranging from philosophical discussions to explicit sexual encounters. Marcus's influence on domestic architecture represents one way that private pleasure culture affects broader Roman society. The legal protections that make Marcus's business possible rest on the fundamental Roman distinction between public and private behavior. As long as activities remain confined to private settings and involve only willing participants of appropriate social status, they fall outside the reach of most legal restrictions. This legal framework reflects Roman values that prioritize personal freedom and privacy within clearly defined boundaries. However, these protections are not absolute. Activities that become public knowledge can still result in scandal that destroys careers and reputations. Behaviors that violate specific taboos around family relationships, religious observances, or political proprieties can trigger legal action regardless of their private nature. Marcus must understand these legal boundaries intimately to protect both himself and his clients. The evolution of Marcus's business reflects broader changes in Roman society during the 1st century CE. As the empire has grown wealthier and more cosmopolitan, demand for sophisticated entertainment has increased. As traditional Roman values have come under pressure from Greek philosophy and Eastern religions, attitudes toward pleasure and sexuality have become more permissive. As political power has become concentrated in fewer hands, private relationships have become more important for advancement and survival. These social changes create opportunities for entrepreneurs like Marcus, who can navigate the complex intersection of tradition and innovation, respectability and transgression, public duty and private pleasure. His success reflects his ability to understand and serve the evolving needs of Roman elite society. The competitive landscape that Marcus operates within includes other event organizers, entertainment venues, and service providers who cater to similar clienteles. Some specialize in conventional dinner parties and social gatherings. Others focus on specific types of entertainment, like theatrical performances or gladiatorial exhibitions. A few attempt to compete directly with Marcus in the market for sophisticated pleasure events. Maintaining his competitive advantage requires constant innovation and attention to changing client needs and preferences. Marcus must stay informed about entertainment trends throughout the empire, identify emerging talent among performers and courtesans, and develop new types of experiences that keep his events fresh and exciting. He must also maintain the relationships and reputation that make clients choose his services over competing alternatives. The international aspects of Marcus's business reflect Rome's position as the center of a vast empire. Clients include not only Roman citizens but also wealthy foreigners, provincial governors, and visiting dignitaries from allied kingdoms. Each group brings different cultural backgrounds, expectations, and constraints that must be understood and accommodated. Serving international clients requires Marcus to understand diverse cultural attitudes towards sexuality, entertainment, and social interaction. Greeks may expect philosophical discussions and artistic performances. Egyptians might prefer exotic music and dance traditions. Germans could be more interested in straightforward pleasure without elaborate rituals. Marcus must adapt his standard approaches to accommodate these cultural differences while maintaining the sophisticated atmosphere that defines his brand. The seasonal rhythms that shape Roman social life create predictable patterns in demand for Marcus's services. Winter months see increased interest in indoor entertainment as cold weather limits outdoor activities. The period before Lent brings heightened demand for indulgent experiences before religious restrictions take effect. Spring festivals create opportunities for celebrations that justify more elaborate than usual gatherings. Summer requires careful planning to avoid the heat that makes extended social events uncomfortable. Understanding these seasonal patterns allows Marcus to plan his business calendar, adjust staffing levels, and manage cash flow throughout the year. He can also use seasonal themes and decorations to add novelty to his events while working within familiar frameworks that clients understand and appreciate. The medical and health considerations associated with Marcus's events require careful attention and planning. Activities that involve multiple participants in intimate settings create risks of disease transmission that must be managed through careful screening, hygiene protocols, and medical support. Marcus maintains relationships with discreet physicians who can provide health services without compromising client confidentiality. The use of aphrodisiac substances, exotic foods, and large quantities of alcohol creates additional health risks that must be monitored and managed. Marcus has learned to recognize signs of overconsumption or adverse reactions that require intervention. His staff is trained to provide assistance while maintaining the privacy and dignity that clients expect. Mental health considerations are equally important. The intense emotions and vulnerability that characterize these events can trigger unexpected psychological reactions in participants. Marcus has developed skills in recognizing and managing emotional crises that might arise when individuals explore aspects of themselves that they normally suppress. His ability to provide support while maintaining discretion is another factor that differentiates his services from those of less sophisticated competitors. The documentation and record-keeping requirements of Marcus's business present unique challenges. He must maintain detailed information about client preferences, supplier relationships, and staff performance, while ensuring that sensitive information cannot be accessed by unauthorized individuals. The records that make his business efficient also represent potential blackmail material that could destroy his clients and himself. Marcus has developed coding systems and security procedures that protect sensitive information while maintaining the detailed records necessary for effective business operations. These systems reflect the same attention to detail and planning that characterizes all aspects of his work. The succession planning for Marcus's business involves considerations that go beyond simple business transfer. The relationships, reputation, and specialized knowledge that make his enterprise successful cannot be easily transferred to new ownership. Training a successor requires years of apprenticeship and relationship building that must begin long before any actual transition occurs. Marcus has begun identifying and training potential successors from among his most trusted staff members. This process involves not only technical training in event planning and execution, but also development of the social skills, cultural knowledge, and personal relationships that make such a business possible. The transition must be managed carefully to maintain client confidence and preserve the discretion that makes the enterprise viable. The broader social implications of Marcus's work extend beyond entertainment into questions about Roman values, social structure, and cultural evolution. His events serve as venues where traditional Roman moral codes are challenged and renegotiated. They provide spaces where hierarchical social relationships can be temporarily suspended or reversed. They create opportunities for individuals to explore aspects of identity and desire that conventional society suppresses. These functions make Marcus's gatherings important social institutions that serve needs beyond simple pleasure-seeking. They provide safety valves that allow elite Romans to explore forbidden desires without completely abandoning social norms. They create bonds and relationships that help maintain social cohesion among groups whose power and wealth could otherwise isolate them from human connection. The influence of Marcus's work on Roman culture extends beyond the immediate participants in his events. Stories and rumors about these gatherings influence broader social attitudes towards sexuality, entertainment, and personal freedom. They provide models for behavior that others may emulate or reject. They contribute to the ongoing negotiation between traditional Roman values and the cosmopolitan influences that empire has brought to the city. The economic impact of the entertainment industry that Marcus represents extends throughout Roman society. The demand for luxury goods, exotic foods, and sophisticated services creates employment and generates wealth that benefits individuals across the social spectrum. The tax revenues generated by this economic activity help fund public works and services that benefit all Romans. This economic influence provides political protection for activities that might otherwise face official interference. City officials understand that interfering with the entertainment industry could reduce tax revenues and eliminate jobs, creating political problems that extend far beyond questions of private morality. The technological innovations that support Marcus's business reflect the broader technological sophistication of Roman civilization. Advanced architectural techniques make possible the complex spatial arrangements his events require. Sophisticated water and heating systems allow for elaborate bathing facilities. Advanced food preservation and transportation methods make exotic delicacies available for sophisticated menus. These technological capabilities enable forms of entertainment that would be impossible in less advanced societies. The combination of wealth, technology, and social organization that characterizes the Roman Empire creates unique opportunities for entrepreneurs who can understand and serve the desires of elite consumers. The artistic and cultural contributions of the entertainment industry include innovations in music, dance, poetry, and visual arts that influence broader Roman culture. Performers who develop their skills serving private clients often go on to careers in public entertainment. Artistic techniques and styles developed for intimate settings influence public performances and permanent artworks. Marcus's events serve as laboratories for artistic experimentation where performers can explore themes and techniques that would be inappropriate in public venues. This experimentation enriches Roman cultural life by expanding the range of artistic expression and pushing boundaries that define acceptable public entertainment. The philosophical and intellectual dimensions of Marcus's gatherings reflect the influence of Greek philosophy on Roman thought. The symposium tradition combines intellectual discussion with physical pleasure, creating opportunities for exploring connections between mind and body that conventional Roman culture tends to separate. These intellectual elements distinguish Marcus's events from simple commercial prostitution or crude debauchery. They provide frameworks for understanding and justifying activities that might otherwise seem purely hedonistic. They create environments where participants can explore profound questions about human nature, desire, and social organization. The religious and spiritual aspects of sexuality that appear in Marcus's events reflect the complex religious landscape of Imperial Rome. Traditional Roman religious festivals include celebrations of fertility and sexuality. Mystery religions imported from the East often incorporate sexual elements into their initiation rituals. Philosophical schools like Epicureanism advocate for the pursuit of pleasure as a legitimate life goal. These religious and philosophical traditions provide contexts that allow participants to view their activities as something more meaningful than simple pleasure-seeking. They can see themselves as connecting with ancient traditions, exploring divine mysteries, or pursuing philosophical ideals rather than simply violating social conventions. The gender dynamics that characterize Marcus's events reflect the complex and often contradictory attitudes toward women in Roman society. Upper-class Roman women enjoy freedoms that their counterparts in other ancient societies cannot imagine, including rights to own property, engage in business, and make independent decisions about their social activities. Yet clear boundaries remain around sexual behavior and public respectability. The women who participate in Marcus's events navigate these constraints while pursuing experiences that conventional society denies them. They must balance their desires for freedom and exploration with the need to maintain reputations that protect their social and economic positions. Marcus must understand and accommodate these complex needs while ensuring that his events serve all participants equally. The intergenerational aspects of Roman society create particular dynamics in Marcus's gatherings. The relationships between older established men and younger protégés often include emotional and physical dimensions that strengthen professional and political bonds. These relationships serve important social functions in a society where formal institutions are often inadequate for career development and advancement. Understanding and facilitating these intergenerational relationships requires Marcus to be sensitive to the complex power dynamics involved. He must ensure that younger participants are not exploited while creating opportunities for the kind of mentorship that Roman society expects and values. The international reputation that Marcus has developed extends beyond Rome to wealthy communities throughout the empire. Provincial governors, successful merchants, and local aristocrats who visit the capital often seek out his services. Some have attempted to replicate his events in their home cities, though few have achieved comparable success. This international dimension of Marcus's business reflects Rome's position as the cultural center of the ancient world. Trends and innovations that develop in the capital spread throughout the empire, influencing local cultures and social practices. Marcus's success contributes to the broader process of cultural diffusion that helps maintain unity across the vast Roman territories. The seasonal festivals and religious celebrations that punctuate the Roman calendar create special opportunities for Marcus's business. Major holidays like Saturnalia temporarily suspend normal social rules, creating contexts where unusual behavior becomes more acceptable. Mystery religion initiations provide models for combining spiritual and physical experiences. Military triumphs and other state celebrations generate wealth and excitement that drive demand for elaborate entertainment. Marcus has learned to coordinate his business calendar with these public events, using them as opportunities to justify particularly elaborate or unusual gatherings. The religious and cultural context provided by public festivals help legitimize private activities that might otherwise seem scandalous or inappropriate. The supply chain that supports Marcus's business extends throughout the Mediterranean world and beyond. Wine comes from vineyards in Gaul, Spain, and the Greek islands. Exotic spices arrive from India and the Far East. Silk fabrics are imported from China. Ivory and exotic animals come from Africa. Each element requires careful coordination and planning to ensure availability when needed. Managing this international supply chain requires Marcus to maintain relationships with merchants, ship captains, and suppliers across the known world. He must understand seasonal shipping patterns, political developments that might affect trade routes, and quality variations that could impact his events. This logistical complexity adds another layer of challenge to his already demanding business. The competitive intelligence that Marcus maintains about other entertainment providers helps him stay ahead of market trends and identify new opportunities. He monitors the activities of competitors, tracks the development of new entertainment forms, and identifies emerging talent among performers and courtesans. This information helps him maintain his position as Rome's premier entertainment organizer. The innovation and creativity that characterize Marcus's most successful events require him to constantly develop new themes, activities, and experiences that keep his offerings fresh and exciting. He draws inspiration from mythology, literature, current events, and cultural trends throughout the empire. Each new event must offer something unique while building on proven elements that clients expect and appreciate. The crisis management skills that Marcus has developed over years of organizing complex events serve him well when unexpected problems arise. Weather can disrupt outdoor elements of gatherings. Key performers can become ill or fail to appear. Guests can arrive with unexpected companions or requirements. Political developments can create tensions that affect social dynamics. Marcus has learned to develop contingency plans for common problems while maintaining the flexibility to respond to unexpected crises. His staff is trained to handle routine problems independently while escalating more serious issues appropriately. This crisis management capability is another factor that distinguishes his services from those of less experienced competitors. The quality control systems that Marcus has implemented ensure that every aspect of his events meets the high standards his clients expect. Regular training and evaluation of staff members maintains service quality. Careful selection and ongoing assessment of suppliers ensures consistent product quality. Detailed post-event reviews identify areas for improvement and help prevent future problems. These quality control systems reflect Marcus's understanding that his reputation depends on consistent excellence across all aspects of his service. A single poorly executed event can damage relationships that took years to build and cost him clients who might never return. The financial management of Marcus's business requires careful balancing of cash flow, investment, and risk management. Events often require substantial upfront expenditures for supplies, staff, and venue preparation before any revenue is received. Seasonal variations in demand create periods of high income followed by leaner times. The luxury nature of his services makes his business vulnerable to economic downturns that reduce discretionary spending among wealthy clients. Marcus has learned to maintain cash reserves that allow him to weather temporary financial challenges while investing in improvements and expansion that maintain his competitive position. He has also diversified his client base to reduce dependence on any single individual or group whose financial problems could significantly impact his revenue. The insurance and risk management strategies that Marcus employs protect against various threats to his business and personal safety. The nature of his activities creates legal risks that require careful management and discreet legal counsel. The wealth of his clients makes his events attractive targets for criminal activity. The sensitive nature of the services he provides creates blackmail and extortion risks. Marcus has developed relationships with security professionals, legal advisors, and other specialists who help him manage these risks. He maintains low public profiles for himself and his business while building the kind of reputation and relationships that provide protection against most threats. The technology and innovation that Marcus employs in his events reflect the advanced engineering and artistic capabilities of Roman civilization. Sophisticated lighting systems using mirrors and oil lamps create atmosphere and mood. Advanced heating and ventilation systems maintain comfort in all weather conditions. Mechanical devices provide special effects and entertainment elements. Acoustic design ensures appropriate sound levels and privacy. These technological capabilities enable Marcus to create experiences that would be impossible in less advanced societies. The combination of Roman engineering skill and Greek artistic tradition provides tools for creating entertainment that satisfies both intellectual and sensual desires. The customer service philosophy that guides Marcus's business emphasizes understanding and exceeding client expectations while maintaining the discretion and professionalism that the sensitive nature of his services requires. Every interaction is designed to build trust and confidence while demonstrating the sophisticated understanding of client needs that justifies premium pricing. This customer service focus extends throughout Marcus's organization, from the initial contact with potential clients through the completion of events and ongoing relationship maintenance. Staff members are trained to anticipate needs, solve problems discreetly, and maintain the kind of personal attention that makes clients feel valued and special. The marketing and business development strategies that Marcus employs rely primarily on reputation and word-of-mouth referrals rather than public advertising or promotion. The discreet nature of his services makes conventional marketing approaches inappropriate and potentially dangerous. Instead, he builds his business through exceptional service that encourages satisfied clients to recommend his services to trusted friends and associates. This referral-based marketing approach creates strong client loyalty while ensuring that new customers come from sources that understand and appreciate the nature of his services. It also provides natural screening that helps exclude individuals who might not be appropriate for the sophisticated and discreet entertainment he provides. The legacy and long-term impact of Marcus's work extend beyond his immediate business. Success to influence broader Roman culture and society. His innovations in entertainment design and execution influence other event organizers throughout the empire. His approaches to customer service and relationship management serve as models for other luxury service providers. His success demonstrates the viability of businesses that serve the sophisticated pleasure markets created by imperial wealth and cosmopolitan culture. The career of Marcus Valerius Festus represents one example of how freed slaves and other non-citizen Romans can achieve success and influence in imperial society. His story illustrates the opportunities that Roman civilization creates for individuals with talent, ambition, and the skills to navigate complex social and political environments. As our day with Marcus draws to a close, we see him preparing for the next event in his busy calendar, a smaller, more intimate gathering for a wealthy widow who wishes to explore pleasures that her conventional marriage never allowed. The planning process begins again, with the same attention to detail, understanding of human psychology, and commitment to excellence that have made him Rome's most successful organizer of sophisticated entertainment. The sun sets over the 7 hills of Rome, casting long shadows across the city that rules the ancient world. In villas throughout the capital, wealthy Romans prepare for another night of pleasure and transgression, confident that Marcus and others like him will provide the sophisticated entertainment that their privileged positions demand and their public roles deny them. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new opportunities, and new events to plan and execute. The Roman appetite for luxury and pleasure seems inexhaustible, creating endless demand for the specialized services that Marcus provides. As long as the empire continues to generate wealth and attract diverse cultural influences, entrepreneurs like Marcus will find opportunities to serve the sophisticated desires of Rome's elite. The legacy of ancient Rome's pleasure culture, exemplified by figures like Marcus, continues to influence modern understanding of entertainment, hospitality, and human sexuality. The sophisticated approach to pleasure that characterized imperial Roman society provides historical precedent for contemporary discussions about personal freedom, social boundaries, and the role of private behavior in public life. The story of Marcus Valerius Festus, master organizer of Roman symposiums and keeper of secrets that could topple governments, reminds us that human nature remains constant across centuries and civilizations. The desires for pleasure, connection, and transcendence that drove Roman aristocrats to seek out his services continue to motivate human behavior in our own time. In understanding figures like Marcus, we gain insight not only into ancient Roman society, but also into the eternal human quest for experiences that provide meaning, pleasure, and connection beyond the constraints of conventional social roles. His story serves as a window into a world where the boundaries between public respectability and private desire were negotiated through elaborate rituals that combined sophistication with transgression, creating experiences that satisfied both intellectual and physical appetites. The day in the life of a Roman orgy planner reveals the complex intersection of business, politics, culture, and human psychology that characterized one of history's most sophisticated civilizations. Through Marcus's eyes, we see how ancient Romans balanced public duty with private pleasure, creating a shadow world of sophisticated entertainment that complemented and sustained their public achievements. As we close this glimpse into the ancient world, we are reminded that history is made not only by emperors and generals, but also by individuals like Marcus, who understood and served the human needs that transcend political boundaries and social conventions. His success in creating experiences that satisfied the deepest desires of Rome's elite demonstrates the eternal importance of understanding and serving authentic human needs, regardless of how unconventional or challenging they might be. The Roman Empire that provided the context for Marcus's career eventually fell, but the human desires and social dynamics that made his business successful continue to shape human behavior across cultures and centuries. In studying his life and work, we gain valuable insights into both ancient history and contemporary human nature, reminding us that some aspects of the human experience remain remarkably consistent across time and place. Thus ends our exploration of a day in the life of Marcus Valerius Festus, organizer of Rome's most sophisticated and scandalous entertainment, keeper of secrets that could shake the empire, and master of the ancient art of transforming human desire into unforgettable experiences. His story illuminates not only the hidden world of Roman pleasure culture, but also the eternal human quest for connection, transcendence, and the kind of authentic experience that makes life worth living.